Did you know that people are following you? If you're wondering just who's following you and where you should be leading them, then you're going to want to watch today's morning motivation. So let's get into our morning motivation. The quote of the day is by Wallace. So before we ask where the leaders are, we should look in the mirror and ask the person we see, why are you not leading? So that is a very great quote that gets us really thinking about that. And if you really think hard about what Carlos is saying here, it can really convict you, right? I mean, we look for leaders everywhere we go, whether it be at work, whether it be in our government, whether it be in our local churches. And some of the times we forget to look in the mirror and ask, why are you not leading? And the question is, are people following us? Yes, they are. And the question I have for you is, where are you leading people? So what does the Bible say about this? Okay, hey Roger, good to see you. In 1 Corinthians 10:31, we have the Apostle Paul writing to the church at Corinth. And remember, the church at Corinth were not always spiritually in tune. They had a lot of issues, a lot of problems going on in this church. And Paul tells them in 1 Corinthians 10:31 that whether you eat or drink or whatever you do all to the glory of God. So he tells these at Corinth, everything you do in your life, whether you're going to work, whether you're going to the market, sharing a meal with people, whatever you do in your life, Paul told them to do everything to the glory of God. And that is how we should live our lives today. Everything you do today should be for God's glory. And if it isn't, I want to challenge you to reevaluate your life and to ask yourself, why am I not glorifying God in every aspect of my life? In my marriage, in my communications with people, in my interactions on Facebook, everything that I do should be to the glory of God. Now let me be honest, guys, and you can be honest in the text too. Sometimes everything in our lives is not to the glory of God, is it? Sometimes some of the things we say, some of the things we post on Facebook, some of our issues in our marriage or in our families, at school, on the job, does not always glorify Christ. And we really need to try to reshape our lives in that framework to where we start to ask this question more frequently. Am I glorifying God? So after Paul tells them to whatever they do to glorify God, look at the next chapter. Turn to chapter 11, verse 1. After Paul tells this church that had some issues to glorify God in every part of their life, the next verse in the next chapter, he says this: follow my example. Catch this. Follow my example as I follow the example of Christ. Now, Paul is encouraging them to look at his life. Look how he was serving the Lord. Look how Paul glorified God in every aspect of his life. And he encouraged them to follow him. Now, let me ask you this. Are you living your life today so much for the glory of God that you would instruct people to follow you? And by following you, they would be following Jesus? Guys, that is a tough bill to fill. Those are some big shoes to fill, aren't they? And I'm afraid that we probably couldn't tell people to follow us as we follow Christ, because we still got a lot of work to do, don't we? But here's the kicker, guys. Whether you tell people to follow you or not, there are people following you. There are people looking up to you, whether it's your kids, whether it's your grandkids, people at church, your friends, people on Facebook, people are looking up to you. And people are following your example. There are people in your lives who aren't Christians. They're looking to you. They're following you. They know how you live in your life. And are you glorifying God in your life so much that if they follow you, they're following Christ? That's what Paul was saying here. That glorify God in your life, follow me as I follow Christ. So here's some action steps. How does this relate to your life today on this Monday morning on the 15th day of May? All right? Number one, I always start with evaluation. Where are you at today, okay? Number one, evaluate. If people were to follow you, would they be following Christ? Are you following Christ so closely that you could tell people to follow you? And by following you, they'd be following Christ. Ask that question. Really ponder that question this morning. Number two, become more mindful that people are indeed watching you and will follow your example. And number three, this is what we all need today. Work harder to remove those stumbling blocks in your life that's holding you back from following Christ. Fully remove them out of your life today so that you can more accurately, more carefully follow Christ, and other people can look to your example and can follow your example. And by doing so, they are following Christ's example. Well, that's your morning motivation this morning. Be motivated today. Know that God loves you wherever you're at in your spiritual life. Know that you can always take that next step. And I want to encourage you to take that next step, whatever it may be. And plan to have a good day today, guys. If you plan to have a good day, no matter what you face today, you will have a good day. Because you got a good Father watching over you today. You got good friends and good family. And then as always, if you need anything, don't hesitate to message me. And we'll talk to you and pray with you, rejoice with you, cry with you, whatever we need to do to help you have a good day. Anyways, guys, love you guys. May the Lord bless you. And may He keep you. And may He make His face shine on you and be gracious to you. See y'all.